Welcome everyone to episode 68 of Raw Sport. We're back with another huge episode with the man himself, Mr. Rick Glaser. Rick, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you very much for having me, and it's a new Monday and a new day, and let's get going here.
Absolutely, mate. Lots of boxing to talk about. Massive weekend. We'll start right up the top. I think the PBC Tank Saga. There's been reports that the upcoming Davis fight is going to fall through. What have you been hearing?
Well, it's not necessarily going to fall through. It's not happening on December 14th. It's not going to happen this year. If Tank comes, he's over demanded his guarantee for the fight, plus an upside of the pay-per-view by a long way. PBC can't afford that. You know, be a great financial bath. I mean, they gave him a fighter he's supposed to be able to beat Lamont Roach, you know, and he wants ridiculous money. The ridiculous money to the point that it just doesn't qualify for a fight like this, that kind of money. So if they can get it together, maybe it happens in January or February. But right now, they don't have it together.
Do we have a figure on how much he's asking for?
I heard that he was at 15. He went down to 12.5 to close it, and they were at 3 million and wouldn't move. So they're a long way apart.
12 million to 3 million.
12.5 million, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Down to 3 million.
Well, listen, even if he took 9 million, that's 3 times the amount difference. I mean, it's 300%. You can't overcome that. It's impossible if you're the promoter. It's not that big a show.
Wow. So where's this going to lead? I mean, last week,
if they get it together, yeah. If they get it together, it'll happen in January or February. If they don't, he'll sit.
No, we're looking at the financial position here of PBC, because last week on the show, we spoke in detail about PBC's issues and the fact that they're struggling. They guaranteed Canelo 35 million a couple of months back.
Right. Well, I just wrote that on Twitter yesterday. I said, here you go, that they guaranteed him 35 million, but they're only guaranteeing this guy 3. Tells you all you need to know.
And all you hear is Tank's the biggest star in boxing, What's been happening all this time then? Who's been funding it?
Well, we really don't know what happened, but you know, the PBC was living off the Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia profits, and Tank's looking to get paid like it's a Ryan Garcia fight, and that's not the case. So they spoiled their own fighters. What they did.
Mr. Ellaby goes on about how Tank's the biggest draw card in boxing. If PBC's only
maybe that's in Leonard's household.
All right. There's reports Mr. Haymon his health is deteriorating. Have you heard much?
I don't know if it's deteriorating, but I heard he's not in good health. Deteriorating is going from this to this to this. Yeah. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if maybe he's recovering. I don't know that, but he's not doing well.
Any specifics of what's happened to him, or just
I've heard from multiple sources that he's had a series of strokes dating back to last December.
Wow. Well, we wish him a speedy recovery and the best of health. Move on now. There's been some talks. We were just talking about Mr. Canelo Alvarez. There's been some talks that, specifically from Ben Shalom, the man behind Boxer, that there could potentially be a bout between Canelo and Eubank Jr. at Wembley. Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, yes, I have actually. I talked to the manager of Chris Eubank and on a regular basis, and I put another one of his fighters in a fight this coming weekend. It's going to be in Vegas, November 2nd here, this coming Saturday. He's got another fighter that I put in the main event. So I've been talking to him on a regular basis, and he's well aware of it. Everything's going on. He enlightened me on some minor details. And he said that it looks like it can happen. And they are game for the fight.
Who's putting up the money?
I don't know. It's probably not going to be PBC, I don't think. Probably
Canelo's
be
just
over.
been,
It'll probably, like I said, probably be over in England, and he'll get a lot of money.
wow, he's going to have to sell a lot of tickets. I mean, he just come out of the
That'll
fight.
sell. That, I think Canelo going to England for the first UK for the first time, and Chris Eubank, the combination thereof that he's fighting a local guy, and a legitimate world contender. His father was Chris Eubank, Senior. And
The
the
story's
world
right.
champ.
Yeah.
Yeah, the story's right. I see it becoming. I think it can sell 95,000 tickets. As
What
long
do
as
you think
they
of,
don't overprice themselves, I should say.
based off his last performance in Saudi, what do you think of Eubank's chances against Alvarez are?
Not too good. You mean happening or winning?
I mean, I don't think he will beat Alvarez. I mean,
No,
just
no. I think it's got a good.
giving us
I
an
think it's got a
entertaining
good
fight.
shot.
Yeah.
I think it's got a good shot of happening if Boxer or anybody affiliated with him is going to guarantee 35 million. I think it can happen to Canelo, but I don't give Eubank much of a chance. Especially Eubank's been fighting at 160. This fight's 68. A long time ago, several years ago, Eubank was at 168, but he's been at 60 recently, and he's not a big guy. I mean, Lem Smith knocked him out about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
What they call him, beefy.
Yeah, beefy, yeah.
Right. So that's not a good sign when you're fighting Canelo.
No, absolutely not. I mean, Alvarez, I think will win comfortably there. It's just a matter of whether he wants to carry him through or not. That's what it comes down to, in my opinion, anyway.
Right. I agree.
Let's move on. Tom Loeffler and his deal with UFC Fight Pass. Dana White's the type that's been talking about boxing for a long time, hasn't got involved just yet. Loeffler did this deal with UFC Fight Pass. UFC, boxing, are they really rivals? Is this good for boxing, what Loeffler's done going into the UFC orbit?
Tom Loeffler is a very consistent guy. He puts out a decent product, and he's got a great relationship with Dana White. It can't hurt anybody. It's good for boxing. It's good for Tom. It's good for his fighters. It's good for UFC Fight Pass. There's no negativity there whatsoever. I know Tom. We talk occasionally. We've never really done any real business, but we talk occasionally, and he's a very knowledgeable guy. I congratulate him for what he's done in his series. They're decent fights. They're respectable. He's building a few fighters here and there. He just built that guy Boachuk, who gave Virgil Ortiz a good fight. He built him on that series, so can't complain.
But for the sport of boxing, do you see it as a positive? Streaming on the UFC network?
Well, listen, the more the merrier. It's always a positive, especially when you're putting on decent fights. And you're giving fighters a platform to fight on, number one, and you're putting on decent fights for the fans. The combination of the two of them spells winner to me.
Interesting. We'll stay in the streaming world. Lou DiBella put on a show, I believe last week, and
Lou DiBella. The show was awful.
Yeah, it was on ProBox TV. ProBox is known for its action-packed fights. Gary Jonas, who's a man who's very insistent on having entertaining fights,
quality fights. Correct. And the fights were just terrible. They were an abomination.
Where does that leave Louis and upcoming shows? I mean, if somebody like ProBox gives you a platform,
I don't know anybody ever called him Louis, but his mother. But he's got a face only a mother could love. In truth, he has no TV. He was going to depend on Gary Jonas for some TV, but I didn't talk to Gary about it. I do talk to Gary, but we didn't talk about it. But in truth, I don't think a guy like Gary Jonas is very happy with what DiBella put on, and I'd be very skeptical if DiBella ever got another show on ProBox. If he did, there'd probably be restraints where they would say, yes, no, this is not going to be out. We can't put this on. Get another guy. Some kind of quality control measures in place. I can see that happening if Gary wants to continue to do business with Lou DiBella.
Wow, interesting. We'll stay on the ProBox TV conversation. They have an upcoming fight in Ireland, their first fight show in
November 1st in Belfast. November 1st, yes.
First fight show in Europe, working with the Conlon brothers. What's that do for the sport now in Ireland? You have a platform like ProBox who's invested so much in the sport now coming to Ireland and putting on these exciting fights.
Well, again, it's a win-win-win situation. The Conlon brothers are in action with it. ProBox gets another venue outlet for their fights. You know, they'll get good quality fights in Ireland on the show in Belfast. And and the fighters will be in action and earning a living. So it's a win-win-win situation for everybody. It's a you know, they put, as long as people put on, as long as these promoters and these streaming services, networks, as long as they put on quality fights, it's great for the sport. If you're putting on trash, it's bad for the sport. It's that simple. It's that simple.
It really is, yeah. And I think this is an opportunity for Irish talent to rise through outside the.
Yes, absolutely. No, there's not even a question about that. Yeah, absolutely. But the difference is quality. People want to see good fights. They don't want to see trash. It's that simple.
And where does that leave the boxing scene in Europe now that ProBox has come in? Does the likes of Eddie Hearn feel a bit threatened and get his knickers?
No, because it's a different level. ProBox is for fighters on the way up. They're not fighters at the top level yet. So it's a different, it's a whole different realm.
The key word in that sentence was yet.
Yeah. Let's put it this way to you. The best way I could say it is if you're comparing it to baseball, which I would over here, I would say that the ProBox fights are AAA fights, and Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren are putting on major league fights. Now, that doesn't mean the quality's not there. It's just that the fights are not as big because the fighters aren't as big yet. But then again, Gary Jonas has got the #2 super middleweight in the world, undefeated Lester Martinez, WBA #2 in the world. So he's, that company, ProBox, the entity ProBox, and the streaming service ProBox are all on the rise as we speak.
He's got probably one of the biggest. He's got the biggest names when it comes to the boxing commentary. Malinagi, Algieri, Tim Bradley, Atlas, huge names. So on that side of the fence, they're absolutely competing with the biggest.
Well, that's also because they have a lot of shoulder programming all week long on ProBox, which are talk shows and podcasts and all that kind of things, roundtable discussions, which is beautiful. I mean, it's a great thing. I mean, Gary Jonas knows what he's doing. He's building something from the ground up. I just had my top boxing guys list, 12, I think 12 or 15, whatever what it was, on Twitter, and I included Gary Jonas. And somebody said, "How can you do that?" I said, "Well, he's a creator of a whole network, number one. Okay, he created it, he financed it with his own money, and he's putting on great fights. Well, how could you not put him on there? It would be like not putting Sylvester Stallone in the Hall of Fame as an observer because because he made the Rocky movies. You'd have to put him in. So same thing."
Yeah, I was at the ProBox Event Center in Tampa, in Plant City last year. The setup they have there is insane. I mean, the trucks, like the big Hollywood trucks, the media trucks, the event center, the hotel, crazy what they're doing. And some of the names that were there, I mean, we had Malinagi, Algieri, as we said. We had Mr. Goldberg, Brian Goldberg, the guy who was Mike Goldberg, sorry, who was famously known for his UFC commentary. We had Juan Manuel Marquez. I mean, the names go on and on and on, and their style, what they have happening is just ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. But anyway, I think they'll start making a lot more noise in Europe, and I think just the way those two bigger promoters are, they always get the knickers and the twists as soon as a new player comes into the game. So we'll see where that goes. We'll stay in Europe. Lawrence Okolie has moved up to heavyweight. He's signed now with Frank Warren. He's moved around a bit recently. What are your thoughts on this guy?
I don't think he'll ever be a heavyweight world champion. He was a cruiserweight champ. He was a WBC bridgerweight champ. He will never be a world heavyweight champion that I can see, but I think he'll give some of these fighters a very, very good fight, and he'll make himself some money in the heavyweight division, especially with the big fights in Saudi Arabia, the big heavyweight fights in the UK. So I think he fits in beautifully with Frank Warren. He's got an awful lot of guys he can fight. So it makes a lot of sense for the fighter. It makes a lot of sense for Frank, and it just is a great fit. No question about it.
Do you know why he's moved around so much recently in recent years?
Well, because nobody's wanted to pay him his demands because he was fighting a cruiserweight and then bridgerweight, which are not exactly popular weight class. Now he's fighting at heavyweight. Now Frank can pay him what he wants to pay him, that the kid wanted. So, well, not a kid, but what the fighter wanted, because he's in the heavyweight division where that's where the big money is. So it's a good fit for Frank. It's a good fit for Okolie. There's no negativity there. Good fit for everybody.
How do you currently see the boxing scene in? How do you compare boxing in England / Europe to boxing in America? Who would you say is on top at the moment?
As far as the fans go and everything else like that, the TV and the fans, the UK is way ahead of the United States. Okay, as far as the quality of the fighters, you take away the heavyweight division, and America's got better fighters than the UK. But if you take the heavyweight division, they're way ahead in heavyweight. I mean, they've got Fury, they've got Dubois, they've got Joshua. They've got, I'm trying to think of the other ones, Dillian White.
Dillian White. They got,
they got, and then the Moses, whatever how you pronounce his last name, coming along. He looks like a real good one, quick left-handed power puncher. So I think they're way ahead in the heavyweight division, but the rest of the boxing, they're not ahead in as far as the quality, as far as the champions go. Now, the crowds are tremendous. 95,000 people, 60,000, 35,000. I mean, it's incredible. One of the problems we have in the United States is that in England, fighters are looked at as noble warriors. Over here, they're looked at as scoundrels, and that's what part of the big difference is. And we don't have we have too many sports over here. Where you guys are. Our English football, which we call soccer over here, is the #1 sport, and boxing rates up there as far as crowd appeal. Over here, we've got hockey and baseball, NFL football, college basketball, NBA basketball, NASCAR, other forms of auto racing. I mean, we've got a million things going on over here where you guys don't have all those sports. And if you do have those sports, they're not at the top level. In other words, you don't have baseball over there in the sense of how we play it over here, Major League Baseball, and you don't have hockey at that level. So it's a different country, and your values are different. But you guys look at, like I said, you guys look at fighters as noble warriors, and they look at our fighters as scoundrels over here, the public. So it's a big difference. And you can see by the amount of sponsors that your guys have on their trunks and the sponsors the event has compared to over here. It's clear as day just looking at the sponsorship difference.
Yeah, well, there's 4 levels of American football. I mean, it's just you got the NFL, you got the XFL now that's merged with the other one. I can't think of it now. And you got college football is bigger than It's huge. I mean, just in
Right.
media rights, there's like over $30 billion. So
Mhm.
it's madness. But yeah, absolutely. But I think from the boxing business side of things right now, the UK is ahead. I mean, that's my
Yeah,
personal opinion.
I just said
Business
it, no
side,
question.
yeah. So they've
You guys,
definitely come along.
you guys could have two cockroaches coming out.
Oh, there we've lost Rick there for some odd reason. Let's see if we can get him back on. He's disappeared. Yeah, we'll give him a moment. I mean, yeah, I mean, just to sort of continue on, the boxing in the UK is absolutely unbelievable and really flying at the moment. I know Rick keeps saying it's you guys, but I'm Australian, so we're two different kettles of fish. So if we compare that with that, I mean, they are way ahead in terms of the boxing business side of things, because America right now is struggling in terms of crowds. I mean, just look at Tank Davis. He's meant to be the one that brings out all the stars, and really, he's struggling to get paid at the moment. So yeah, man, it's really interesting. But anyway, I think Rick has, unfortunately, his phone has died. But we're wrapping up anyway. We're coming towards the end of the show. It's been an eventful show. Rick shared a ton of gems with us. We've gone through a few different conversations, and a lot was discussed. So thank you very much to everyone who's joined in. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much to everybody who's subscribed to our channel. We will be back next week again with Rick, as we did last week. It'll become a regular segment once a week, every Mondays in America, 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and in Australia, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, well, Melbourne time. All right, everyone. Thank you all. Take care, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Hot Boxing.